Somalia stands once again at a political crossroads, its fragile federal structure strained by a deepening rift between the central government in Mogadishu and the semi-autonomous Puntland region. The core dispute centers on power, governance, and Somalia's future, pitting calls for a strong central government against Puntland's tradition of self-rule. Recent tensions have escalated over Puntland's accusations that Mogadishu is secretly recruiting soldiers on its soil, threatening its autonomy. The federal government insists this is part of building a unified army to combat extremist threats, but mistrust runs deep. This standoff is about more than military recruitment. It's a test of Somalia's federal model and its ability to maintain unity after decades of conflict. The outcome will shape security operations, political reforms, and the country's fragile peace. We'll explore the roots of Puntland's autonomy, the federal government's centralizing ambitions, and how this power struggle impacts the fight against Al-Shabaab and IS Somalia. Ultimately, Somalia faces a choice: negotiation or escalation. Puntland's story begins with the collapse of Somalia's central government in 1991. In 1998, Puntland declared itself an autonomous region, not to secede, but to provide stability amid chaos. This fostered a strong belief in self-rule and deep suspicion of centralized authority from Mogadishu. Puntland sees itself as a founding partner in Somalia's federal system, insisting on a bottom-up approach where states retain significant power. Mogadishu, however, often pushes for a top-down model, seeking control over security, resources, and foreign policy. Disputes over resource sharing, constitutional reforms, and elections have repeatedly strained relations, with Puntland suspending ties whenever it feels its autonomy is threatened. President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud's push for direct presidential elections and constitutional changes has only deepened these divides. For Puntland, every move by the central government is viewed as a potential threat to its hard-won autonomy. The latest crisis erupted when Puntland accused the federal government of secretly recruiting and training soldiers from its territory. Puntland claims this covert operation undermines its authority and security, fearing Mogadishu is building a parallel force loyal only to the center. The federal government denies wrongdoing, insisting the recruitment is part of a national plan to build a unified army representing all regions. Mogadishu argues that a strong, centralized military is essential to overcome Somalia's history of clan-based fragmentation. Both sides see their actions as vital for Somalia's future, fueling a dangerous standoff. The dispute is now a symbol of the broader mistrust between center and periphery. From Puntland's perspective, Mogadishu's recruitment drive violates Somalia's provisional constitution, which requires cooperation on security matters. Bypassing Puntland's administration is seen as a direct challenge to its legitimacy and autonomy. This incident is the latest in a pattern of what Puntland views as central government overreach. The fear is that Mogadishu aims to dismantle federalism and return to authoritarian rule. Puntland argues these actions distract from the real fight against Al-Shabaab and IS Somalia, risking security vacuums militants could exploit. The region demands an immediate halt to federal recruitment and formal recognition of its authority. For Puntland, this is a red line. Accepting Mogadishu's actions would set a dangerous precedent for all federal states. Their resistance is framed as a defense of federalism itself. The federal government frames its actions as essential for national unity and survival. Mogadishu argues that building a professional, inclusive army is necessary to secure Somalia's borders and defeat insurgents. Recruiting from all regions, including Puntland, ensures the army reflects Somalia's diversity and isn't seen as a clan militia. The FGS insists that national security is its prerogative, and regional forces operating independently undermine unity. Puntland's resistance is seen as obstructionism, prioritizing regional power over national security. The government claims its goal is not to weaken Puntland, but to end reliance on foreign troops and achieve security independence. Some in Mogadishu suspect Puntland's leaders fear losing influence if their forces are integrated into a national army. Ultimately, the dispute is cast as a political power struggle disguised as a constitutional crisis. The recruitment dispute is just one front in a broader political battle between Mogadishu and federal member states. President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud's push for constitutional and electoral reforms, especially direct presidential elections, has alarmed Puntland and its allies. They see these reforms as a centralization of power, sidelining regional governments. In protest, Puntland suspended cooperation with the federal government, setting the stage for the current standoff. Every federal action is now viewed with suspicion, as part of a larger effort to erode regional autonomy. The situation is further complicated by regional rivalries, with Egypt's recent troop deployment raising fears of external powers influencing Somalia's internal disputes. The risk: Somalia's political crisis could become a proxy conflict for larger regional powers. Political infighting between Mogadishu and Garowe comes at a perilous time for Somalia's security. Extremist groups like Al-Shabaab and East Somalia exploit divisions between federal and regional forces, undermining intelligence sharing and operations. Puntland's security forces have been battling IS Somalia in the Kalmiskad Mountains, achieving some successes but suffering heavy losses. IS Somalia's growing strength and foreign ties make it a rising threat, now serving as a key hub for the Islamic State's global network. Effective counterterrorism depends on cooperation between Puntland, the Somali National Army, and international partners, now jeopardized by political deadlock. If tensions escalate, joint operations could collapse, leaving Puntland isolated against multiple threats. The transition from African Union to Somali-led security hinges on unity, currently at risk. Political squabbles threaten to undo hard-won security gains, giving militants new opportunities. As tensions rise, Somali clan elders and international partners are working to mediate. Elders, respected across political divides, urge both sides to avoid conflict, warning that only extremists would benefit. The UN and African Union call for dialogue and respect for federal principles. Diplomats push for private negotiations, but deep mistrust remains a major obstacle. Puntland suspects Mogadishu of seeking to undermine its autonomy. Mogadishu accuses Puntland of sabotaging state building. Mediators propose joint, transparent recruitment and linking security talks to broader political reforms. Without trust building, however, Somalia risks continued paralysis and escalation. Somalia faces three possible futures. The best-case scenario is negotiation. Both sides agree on transparent recruitment and restart dialogue on constitutional issues, easing tensions. The worst case is escalation. Puntland blocks federal recruitment, risking armed clashes and opening the door for extremist exploitation. Most likely is a damaging stalemate. Both sides dig in, cooperation freezes, and Somalia remains politically fractured. This paralysis would erode institutions, deter investment, and perpetuate instability. Resolving the dispute is about more than soldiers. It's about the survival of Somalia's federal project. Only compromise and political will can secure a peaceful, united future. The choices made now will echo across Somalia and the Horn